previewed it before, have we?
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we might be up and ready to go.
Well,
G'day, guys. If you are with us, yes, it's coming up there.
Yeah, nice.
Welcome to the first ever True Footy Trade Period Deadline Day. I'm joined with a very special guest, young Rolf Harris. How are you today?
How are you, buddy? Got me wobble board out the back.
Does anyone actually recognise this bloke? We got Lisky Boy saying g'day. I don't know who you are, says hi. Luke and Alana say hi. My cousin's called Luke and Alana. Aston United here, Premies 2. Cat Attack, Fishing with Ewan Dillon. West Magnetic, hello. Foxy Gaming. Oh, got a bunch of people joined in. We got 15 on the stream. Welcome, guys. Thank you for tuning in today.
Look at us watching the full ad instead of getting ourselves up on your screen there.
Exactly. So we're just going to... I do feel like I have to address the elephant in the room, the fact that you've cut your hair and shaved.
Had a bit of a makeover.
It is Busher, believe it or not. It is not just a new guy on the stream. It is...
A tidy Busher.
People thought you would look like the older one out of us before you cut your hair.
Yeah.
I wonder if people still think that.
Yeah, I've gained a few years of youthfulness, I think, with this makeover for sure.
You do look so much different. I can't even get past it.
I look like first year uni me, just rolling up, dumb and naive.
Yeah, you do. You really do.
Didn't know that the next 6 years of my life would be an absolute piss take.
And still dumb and naive.
Exactly.
But, Bailey Eldridge says, we got Josh. No, Sasquatch Joycey says, who is that? Bailey says, we got Josh Bruce. Yes, so that is one of the deals that has gone through today. Josh Bruce got done for pick 32
and 51, was it?
So, yeah. Your thoughts while I take a sip?
Well, I was sort of posturing the whole time, like, 32 is not enough, 32 is not enough. So they've chucked in 51 just as a little,
Yeah, that's true.
Because realistically, where's Josh Bruce isn't consistently going to play if they're serious about getting time into Max King. McCartan, even if he can get his health right.
True. Man, this has been a huge trade period for the Saints, but before we move on to that...
Big Chris. Cheers, Chris.
Chris Reed is here. Log Dog is here, up the Saints. Michael Stanton, friend of the channel. Welcome, mate. What do you think of the Hill deal? I reckon Belly screwed it up. Really? Why do you think that, Michael? Because we were saying before, we actually think Freo did pretty well out of that. Bearing in mind, I'm a big fan of Blake Acres. I think he's a good talent.
Yeah, if Blake Acres can get a consistent run on the park and find some form, he could be anything, I think, for them.
Yeah, and I think Fremantle kind of... Acres and Aish will be downgrades on Langdon and Hill, but they're still not bad plug-and-play, young, best 22 players that are under 25.
And in the case of Langdon, not significant downgrades, I don't think.
I personally think Acres will be a better player than Langdon down the track.
Yeah, if he can get a consistent run, he's got more upside, a lot more upside than Langdon, I feel.
Yeah, that's right. Sasquatch Freo is letting us know that the Tim Watson's reported Danaher deal is off. So that's a bit of a shame because that would have probably made the last 10 minutes of this trade period really exciting.
Yeah, at the moment, the only potential major thing still to come is Papley, and even that people felt was contingent on Danaher happening. So anything could happen on that front.
Very true. Sammy G says, hi, True Footy. Welcome, Sammy.
G'day.
Sorry, it's a bit hard to keep up with all the comments in here. Fabian says, apparently the Danaher deal won't go through, so that will mean that the Papley to Carlton deal won't as well. Well, I don't know.
I don't know necessarily. Carlton might still just go 9 for Papley.
Yeah.
But apparently the Swans were only interested in getting rid of Papley if they were getting Danaher. So
yes, but my understanding is Papley's desperate to get out of Sydney.
Yeah.
So while Sydney do hold the cards in this scenario, you do kind of think back to most occasions where players really, really want to get out. They generally do, other than Tim Kelly last year. But I think the difference is Tim Kelly was offered unders last year, and I think Papley for pick 9 is a fairly good offer.
It's almost overs.
Yeah, probably is, even though he's a very good player. Roger's in the house. He says, hey, Busher.
G'day.
Okay, so Michael's clarifying. He says, if pick 6 and a future second was the initial deal, then they screwed it up. Yes. If that is the case, probably. Yeah. Wait, what have they got? They got 10 and a second rounder.
10, a second, a third. Or something. I think we're switching thirds or something.
Yeah. No, I still think they've done well out of that. Because 6 to 10, I don't think is a massive drop this draft.
Yeah, it's, in terms of talent that's available, probably not.
But, I mean, the guys you're probably looking at, like Luke Jackson and Devin Robertson, which are the cliche WA ones to bring up, but they'll probably still be there at 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then with 10, that 10 10 rather than 12, it means we're less likely to have to waste it on a bid for Henry.
Yeah, that's true.
Because 12 he might have got bid on in that range.
That's true.
Because it sounds like, I know the Bulldogs have their heart set on a small forward from all the stuff I've sort of seen throughout the internet. If any Bulldogs fans can clarify that, that'd be good. But from what I can see, small forward probably wouldn't hurt.
Yeah. I'm just going to get up. So some people are asking about some deals that haven't gone through. So Danaher, obviously, no word. Oh, sorry, that's confirmed, no. Papley, Aish, Jack Martin, Alex Keith, Dan Butler, Zach Jones, Tom Cutler, Aiden Bonar, and Josh Jenkins are all players that we expect will find a home in the next 30 minutes.
I'm surprised Keith hasn't been done yet, actually.
Yes, so I think Adelaide are sort of holding firm on that, but it sounds like Keith will not play for them no matter what. I think his manager said under no circumstances Keith will stay at the club next year.
He's got the luxury of being able to go back to cricket.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, he was in the Big Bash, wasn't he? Yeah.
Played with Shane Warne. Shane Warne was giving him a big pump up.
Yeah, gross. Oh, you mean, yeah. Where were we? No, so Gold Coast could pick him up, although they did threaten today, Gold Coast, that they might redraft Jack Martin in the PSD. Yeah. They've got pick one.
Thing is, I feel like with this whole Papley thing, once Carlton have sort of seen the writing on the wall that may or may not happen, they should have done a St Kilda if the deal, like St Kilda traded down their 6 so they could get other deals done. Carlton maybe should have done that with their 9 so they could get their other guys through the door like Martin. They're eyeing off some other less prominent names as well.
Yeah.
More picks would have helped them get those guys through the door as well, rather than putting all your eggs in the Papley basket, which with the Danaher and everything seems like a weird situation.
Yeah, that's true. Bailey Eldridge. We're getting a little bit of spam, St Kilda spam. If we could stop that, please. I'm trying to read the comments. So Bailey's asking, should the Dogs get Keith? I think yes.
He'd be handy.
I think they have a strong midfield, and I think the back line is probably one area they need strengthening in.
Especially if they're playing Norton as a forward. If Norton is back there, it might be a bit less of a need, but...
Yeah. And Josh Bruce sort of helps them up forward. I think Keith is important.
Back.
Yeah, exactly right.
Mate, 2 BOGs in the Brownlow, mate. 6 votes.
Yeah.
Keefy.
Oh, they're going to get a bargain for him if they do land him.
There's been a lot of bargains this trade period, I feel. Jack Stevens for that pick, that's going to be the bargain of the century, I reckon, assuming his head's in the right place now, but he's close to the home with his family, fresh start.
Yeah.
Out of the microscope with his Melbourne.
It's a really unique case, the Jack Stevens circumstances. Obviously, he's got mental health issues, meaning, maybe he could retire at the drop of a hat, who knows. He's also 30-ish, right?
Yeah, about 30, more like 30.
But we saw when he plays, he's bloody damn good.
Even this year, he looked good when he was actually on the park.
So Geelong probably won't actually get that much a drop-off from losing Tim Kelly if they've got Jack Stevens now.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre. I mean, obviously, I'm sure they prefer to have Tim Kelly. Who's
younger, better.
Yeah, he's better.
At this point,
Yeah.
Maybe Prime Stevens was better than him, but Prime Stevens a thing of the past.
Yeah. Prime Stevens.
Billy Frampton. I used to verse him in basketball, actually, old Billy Frampton.
Yeah.
The crosstown Port to Adelaide move.
Yes, yeah, which is rare.
Yeah, very rare.
Interesting move. So they basically replaced Sam Jacobs with Frampton. Interesting what's happened with Adelaide this off-season. I was critical at the start. I thought they were going to just lose all their players. But the players they've lost
aren't too...
They're not super important. Yeah. They're getting a bit of a salary cap dump. They're not really getting much in the way of draft picks or anything like that, or trading in young players or anything like that. But they've dumped a lot of salary, so maybe they're sort of crying themselves for a couple of years.
Chuck some cash at Grundy.
Yeah, that's actually a very, very astute point. Yeah, that might be exactly what they're planning to do. When do you know when Grundy's out of contract?
Next year, end of next year, I believe.
Next year. Okay. Yeah, there you go. That'd be interesting. And hence why they've ditched Jacobs. Yeah, good point.
Understandable, Stud Muffin. He's a great player. I was devastated to lose him.
Michael Stanton says, unpopular opinion, but the Saints won the Stephen trade.
Ooh.
Why do you think that, Michael? That is controversial. I don't know, because what was it, pick 58? Something like pick 58, wasn't it? So the only way they win that is if they get more out of pick 58 than they do.
He's saying salary dump, so he's saying the fact they've got Stevens' money off the books. Is that what you're suggesting there, Michael?
Yeah.
The fact that, because he's probably on a pretty penny. I don't know what the exact details of his deal were.
But do you think St Kilda really up that tight on salary? If they
are, not if they're throwing 900 grand at Brad Hill, when most other clubs probably would have thrown 700, eh?
If St Kilda are having a salary dump, that is gross mismanagement because they finished, 5th or 6th last?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, it does happen. Apparently, they were saying Gold Coast had salary cap issues recently because they had to pay so much more to keep their players.
Uh,
Yeah, because of a bit of a unique circumstances.
yeah, because most of these guys, you don't know what their deals are when they sign extensions and stuff. Don't know the specifics.
Yeah. Sammy G is asking any news on Fantasia. The last I heard is Fantasia's staying.
Yeah, he flip-flopped, and then said, "Yeah, I'm staying at Essendon."
I think
Apparently, Port Adelaide were quite pissed off about it, actually, from what I'd read.
Yeah, right. Well, Port Adelaide, they're an interesting one now because they're getting a lot of hate. Did you see someone egged the Port Adelaide headquarters or something?
Yeah, I did, because I was reading stuff where people saying everyone because I'm not big on big footy, like I'm not on there often, but I heard everyone in the Port Adelaide thread was losing their shit, so I went over to Fred's and there's like a whole thread saying fire Cripps, their list manager, and they're all losing their plot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's extreme, but
yeah, they got 2 firsts for 1, and maybe they do love their Dougal Howard. To be fair to him, he has a lot of potential.
It seems that they've just botched that in terms of a man management perspective. Dougal Howard had didn't want to leave at all this year, and they basically flipped him for a late first.
Yeah, and then
he's contracted.
Gone down 2 picks in exchange for Paddy Ryder, who was going to be a steak knives type of deal. Yeah, realistically,
I do think that's probably a bad deal. Yeah, I do.
For Port.
Yeah, I think that they could have done better there, and. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and lie and pretend I know heaps about Dougal Howard. I know he's a solid prospect, but I couldn't tell you whether he's going to become a gun. But
it's one of those ones. I think he's been a bit of a victim of circumstance as well, with the lack of maybe big names that have been moving around in the free agency. Everyone's latched onto the Dougal Howard situation, especially because there was like 4 or 5 clubs into him, and there wasn't much going on. So I think he became the big story, and that hype was caught on a bit. That's
true. But my understanding of the situation is that Dukes was told that his future... He signed a big contract extension last year, and they said...
He doesn't want to play the position Hinkley.
Yeah, so they've revamped their backline structures, apparently, and they don't see him as a defender and pushed him up forward. So they kind of pushed him out of the club and said it's not the worst thing if you explore your opportunities. I feel like you're going to do that with a contracted player who's got a bit of value. Pick 18, plus a 2-pick downgrade, Paddy Ryder. I don't think they did. I don't think they maximised the value out of that.
Pick 18 for Dougal Howard straight up would have been reasonable for me, I think.
Sorry, repeat that?
I think Dougal Howard for pick 18 straight up would have been reasonable from my perspective.
Yeah. It would have been reasonable, but it's like when you... Yeah, maybe on actual trade value, but like if you internally rate a player, or at least the fans do, you can see why they'd be pissed. Like, for instance, there's a player like... let's say Daniel Venables from the Eagles, who
mate.
Eagles fans will all rate, but because no one else like you has no idea who he is. No, but see, his actual market value would probably be like a pick in the 30s now.
Yeah.
Whereas if you told an Eagles fan we were trading Daniel Venables for pick 30, we'd be like, come on, what are you talking about? Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's kind of that situation for Dougal Howard.
That's half the thing with trades. It's how much the team values the guy compared to when another team sees his potential. Sort of thing.
Yeah. Just to take a little bit of a sidestep, what do you think about the people saying that Sydney owed it to Danaher to get a deal done? I know the deal's off now, but...
Well, if it's true that they're the ones that have approached him and made a play for him, they could have done more to get the deal done.
I don't know if they have any obligation to pay that much overs, though.
Yeah, definitely fair.
I personally did. I took exception.
I don't know why they were interested in him in the first place, really. He doesn't really fill a need.
Yeah. I agree with you. It's a weird place to invest all of your resources. The forward line, you've got Buddy Franklin, you've got young pups in McCartan and Blakey. You got Sam Reid down there as well. He's only like 28, I think. So yeah, that is a weird one. Back to the comments. Everyone is spamming the Saints. North Melbourne unsighted, lying in wait. They're the real winners of the trade period. That's a good point, actually. Welcome, Mike, by the way.
G'day.
North Melbourne. Yeah. I criticised them a couple of days ago for maybe not doing enough this trade period. Consider the fact they've got kind of a mature side. Yeah. And I feel like to miss out on the finals this year, they probably needed to make positive moves this off-season. Now, I think they were going for Dougal. But, that was kind of like a almost afterthought. At the end of the day, they have done this trade now with Melbourne where they flipped pick 8 for next year's Melbourne's first 26 this year and pick 50. So, on value, that is a really good deal because if Melbourne finish mid-table, then North basically have just scored a second rounder for nothing.
Yeah.
The downside is now,
They're
as a
out of this
North
year.
fan, I'm looking at it. If I was a North fan, I'd be like, okay, so we finished 11th or whatever we did. We missed the finals, haven't traded a player in, and we don't have a first rounder this year.
Yeah.
It's not very...
It's not
It doesn't-
confidence inspiring.
Yeah, exactly right. So maybe they rate the talent between 8 and 26 fairly evenly,
Yeah.
which I have
Which
heard a lot
seems
of
the
people.
consensus with this draft.
Yeah, so from that perspective, it probably is a really good bit of business, but
Yeah.
I can just see as a North fan, I'd be like,
Yeah.
now I don't even get the draft.
From an external perspective, promoting your product to the fans, it's not good. But
yeah,
maybe in the nuts and bolts of actually running a football club, it's smart sort of thing. But externally, people are like,
yeah, that's true.
yeah,
Lachlan Smart has just joined. Welcome, Lachlan. Thank you for joining us.
g'day.
We haven't addressed it already, but he's asking, what do we think about Lewis Taylor to Sydney? What are your thoughts on this? I know you're not a huge fan of Lewis Taylor, are you?
I don't mind him. Like, he's a guy that can play and can do okay, but he's not a world beater sort of.
Yeah. My view is that, he's obviously got talent. Did he win the Rising Star or did he go close?
I think he went all right.
I
He
can't
came out of the gates well early, I think, in his career.
He certainly did well in his Rising Star year.
Yeah.
I can't remember if he actually won it. Probably
Don't think he did.
let us know.
He would have been around that Hogan-y time that year.
Yeah, that's
Hogan
true.
won it.
That's true. Yeah, he's the same age
Yeah.
as Hogan, so that's right.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think he was just a candidate for the Rising Star or whatever. So my point is I back Sydney in to turn one of these fringe players into a really good role player.
Yeah.
They have a history of doing that over the last 20 years. Any fringe player that gets traded to Sydney, I think, he might do well here. And I
Sydney,
think,
Hawthorn, those sort of clubs.
yeah, exactly. Even Geelong.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really prudent move from Sydney, who needs sort of maybe add players in that age range as well.
Yeah.
They've kind of got that generational gap they kind of need to bridge. And he's 24 now,
Yeah.
Louis Taylor. So I think it's an astute pickup. Not a massive loss to the Lions. Taylor played a bit of Meathel this year, so yeah. Where's Aishi going, says Sean. The last I heard about James Aish was on here briefly, where they were saying that Fremantle and Collingwood are kind of haggling because Fremantle feel like they're doing Collingwood a favour by taking some salary cap off them, and whereas Collingwood are probably trying to strike more of a deal around his value, which is probably a second rounder. Fremantle probably pushing for a third or fourth. Probably a fourth.
I'd think third tops.
Do you have a third this year? You have a third next year, maybe.
Yeah, I'd give him a future third or something.
Yeah. Okay.
58 realistic was what I thought it would get it done, but I've got that Dockers bias on that one, I guess.
Yeah. Louis was staffed for opportunity, languishing in the Neefle. Yeah, fair enough. So there's a clarification. That's what I thought was the case. So he views this move as positive. Yeah, I agree with that. Brisbane did have a great year for injury run, though. They didn't have to rely too much on their depth. I think they've actually done really well this off-season. They've added Ellis Yeoman for free, Calamarchi for a future second and a future fourth, who was a former first round draft pick. Whether he's going to be any good, I don't know, but it's still depth. And who's the other? He added a third player. I've just on the big stage. I've just frozen, guys.
Yeah, we're choking spectacular.
Brisbane Lions. Who did they just add? Please,
Greenwood was Gold Coast.
Please, someone help me with who the third Brisbane acquisition was. I swear there was 3.
Yeah, I had 3 in my head for some reason.
I don't know. But they might lose Tom Cutler, which is a good segue, because somebody did ask thoughts on Tom Cutler.
Oh, literally.
Yeah. I think that's a repeat of the question, because Alex Keith, the Bulldogs has been done. Let's have a look. So,
yeah, whip this deal up.
Have Geelong got the Jenkins? I think that will happen, but it hasn't happened yet. I don't know why.
45 and a future third.
Yeah, gentle.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Adelaide can use that, I guess. We were just saying before the live stream started, we were thinking maybe the teams who have stockpiled second and third rounders next year, particularly Fremantle has 3 second rounders, but now Adelaide has, an extra third or fourth, an extra fourth or whatever. That could come in handy because we're talking about how the future draft has a lot of academy players and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you're going to get 5 or 6 teams who are dominating that, who need points. So the teams with third and fourth round picks, second round picks, the excess, this is a real opportunity for you could trade multiple late picks for earlier picks. Because that's the one thing this academy thing has done, where you can just bundle a lot of crap picks together, and if they equal more points, you can actually move up the draft, and it's mutually beneficial. That was never a thing before. So that'll be really interesting. Yes, so Keith... Birchall was the other one. Thank you.
Birchall, yep.
Birchall was the one I was forgetting. Thank
Hodgie
you.
replacement.
Like Mike. Hodgie replacement, exactly right. So I think Brisbane have done really well. They've got 3 picks in the first 34. I think all round a conservative but strong off-season.
Sometimes conservative is good, especially when you're in a position like Brisbane where you just need to consolidate and continue what you've got going on.
Brought in Lockie Neal last year, Jared Lyons as well. The young players are going to improve. Probably don't have... Well, maybe salary cap will be a consideration in the coming years. The amount of young players have probably copped the pay rise this year as well. Like, I don't know who really signed, but maybe Barry McCluggage. I'd imagine McCluggage's next contract's going to be significant. So
yeah, he'll be on a pretty penny if they want to keep him.
45 and a future second for Keith and a future third, as Michael says. Thank you, Michael. 45 and a future second. Yeah, okay. Interesting. So Tom Cutler, so we were just saying, I think he is a good player that is probably undervalued. Bit of talent. I think he's another one. I think I talked about Sydney potentially looking at him just because this is just my fabrication, but just thinking like that's the sort of player with talent they could probably really reinvent, turn into a good player.
And they would have had the opportunity to scout him in the NEFL like Louis Taylor, even they probably got to watch these guys regularly in the NEFL with their own teams.
Are Saints still going to get Zach Jones? I'll tell you what, I completely forgot about Zach Jones. I feel
that's flown under the radar, the Zach Jones.
Yeah, it has. It just hasn't been talked about that much, but it seems to... Did he ever request a trade? Actually, not sure.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything of him actually request one. Actually, yeah, I did hear a request he wanted to come home.
I think he did request to the Saints.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Saints probably threw the cash at him.
Zach Jones would be a really successful off-season for the Saints. What picks do they have? I think their earliest pick now is 58.
No, we got 58. Freo got 58.
Do you?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking would go for.
So what was the Jack Stephen trade then?
Jack Stephen, they did that first. They got the 58 from Geelong, then they sent it to Fremantle and the Brad Hill deal.
So if I'm not... No, so now St Kilda have 32.
Okay.
32 and 51 for Josh Bruce.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Okay, so now 32 and 51 comes into play for Zach Jones.
Yeah.
What's Zach Jones worth? 32?
At least.
Yeah, at least you'd think.
Probably similar value to Josh Bruce, really.
Yeah.
Like different players and categories, obviously, but in terms of the value, you'd assign them, I'd say, about the same.
14 minutes left on the trade period asks... Well, YouTube Bagel asks, and that is my answer. Let's go. The Don's about to get Tom Cutler. Is that the case?
Big Adrian Dodoro in the trade room as we speak. That could be what's happening.
Yeah.
Nick Minute Danaher did happen. No, it's Brizzy and Essendon, so yeah, it's obviously Cutler.
Yeah, there you go. It's interesting looking at in history about trades that didn't happen because the paperwork didn't go through.
Yeah.
There's a few like from the 2000s. Nothing real famous, but like it has happened before. Imagine that as a player, just being like, oh, sick, yeah, I'm going to Port Adelaide. Boom, gone.
I heard bloody Terry Wallace say Carlton. I'm thinking if they stay put, they've made an absolute meal of this trade period.
Carlton?
Yeah. They're expecting Papley, Jack Martin, and Eddie Betts. All they've got is Eddie Betts.
Yes. Yeah, I can see where you're going with that. And they still hold pick 9.
Yeah.
What is Jack Martin's value? He's uncontracted.
I don't think he's worth pick 9.
I don't think so.
I think he'd be worth something in the 20s.
Would you go 9 for Martin and 20? And knowing that Gold Coast do have the PSD threat.
That'd be close. 15, maybe 15.
Depends how you rate Jack Martin. Because a few years ago he was rated as like the next.
Yeah, he was mini draft.
Yeah, he was rated the best mini draft prospect, and there were some good mini draft prospects.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like Martin, if he'd have gone to a good club like Hawthorn, Martin should have requested a trade to Hawthorn. If I was him, that would have been the club I'd go to. Anyway, so Carlton is still risky, but it depends how highly you rate him because he hasn't really put it together on an AFL field yet. But again, part of that is that's to do with the fact that he's been at Gold Coast.
Yeah, that's probably stifled his development for sure, especially because I was reading something it was a while ago, but I reckon the first 4 or 5 years they were a club, they were pretty much working out of demountables up in the Gold Coast. Yeah. Which was an absolute piss take for an Australian rules AFL top level club.
It does piss me off a little bit thinking about Scott Clayton, right, at Gold Coast. Was the one who traded... correct me if I'm wrong, he was the one who traded pick 2 for Lachie Weller.
Yeah.
And then he was the one who traded 4 picks for like the Eagles first last year. That was basically a 1-pick upgrade and lost like 3 second rounders or something. So that was one of the worst trades I've ever seen. He's now at West Coast, right as we traded all that stuff to Kim Kelly. So I wonder if this bloke just loves just trading all of his assets.
But maybe he's a bit like because I'm a person that thinks picks are overvalued.
Sure.
So he's probably in that category as well and goes, I'd rather get something that's proven than picks. Like even Riley Brevely, I was watching him briefly before I came over here, and he was saying something like, a pick's less valuable after you've taken it than before you've taken it.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, which I felt was a really good point. I actually like him as just a little side note. Beveridge, I rate him as a guy.
Yes, seems like a good bloke.
Yeah.
Two Tiger says Papley is unlikely.
Yeah.
You know,
seemed contingent on Danaher from
we've got 11
speculation.
11 minutes to go. Martin isn't worth trading pick 9 for. He's still being sold off potential after 7 years in the system. Yeah, you're right.
Definitely.
Is it 7 years in the system?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, right. Wow. There you go.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
He's definitely right there for sure.
It's just, but then like
he had some runs on the board. Like,
I agree.
The past couple of years.
I agree on value with Michael that is too much. But again, it comes down to what's the difference between market value and how much you need to pay to get the player that you want.
Yeah.
And so, like we've seen the Eagles play way over for Tim Kelly. And we just seen. Well, what about? Yeah, we just used the Lachie Weller example.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I just use these examples of bad trades.
Yeah.
But if Carlton really want their man, do they rate it more than the 9th best kid in this draft?
Thing is with Carlton as well, it's like they're at a point where they've got the kids through the door. They need to
establish
consolidate and get that ball rolling.
Tom Cutler officially off to the Bombers. There we go. Tom Cutler and 64, and the Lions get a future 3rd and pick 72. So basically a future 3rd. It's a pretty good deal actually. Yeah. Thought he'd go for less than that, to be honest. Saints have got Howard, Carlisle, Brown, Joyce, and Battle. They do have plenty.
They just some depth, that is for sure.
Yeah. Well,
I even rate Mitch Brown still. He's since he's got St Kilda's Mitch Brown. Was it
Nathan Brown?
Ah, fuck.
Yeah.
I swore there was 2 Mitch Browns and he was one of them.
So Mitch Brown is Nathan's twin brother. He never played for St Kilda. He nearly got traded there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're thinking of Nathan Brown.
Yeah.
Is he still there?
Yeah.
Nathan Brown?
Yeah, he's looked good when I've seen him play for St Kilda. A couple of Saints games I did catch this year with Brown.
I forgot he was still on a list. How bad is that?
He's not a world beater star, but he's like a guy like Sam Collins type of dude. Like does what you need him to do.
Yeah. Zach Jones will make it 6. Savvy from the Cats if they land Jenkins. I agree, like Mike. They have had a very good off-season so far. We'll talk about all this more and more in the podcast we're doing tomorrow, if you're still available for that. Yeah, cool. So we're going to do a podcast really doing a real in-depth discussion of all this as well. So the other thing as well, guys, I'm just going to plug my other YouTube channel, Jesse Thomas. Go check that out. I've started a FIFA career, and I really need some views on it because the FIFA career is struggling the first couple of years.
Kicking goals, mate.
Scoring goals. Exactly right. So go check it out. I don't know. I think I might have put it in the description of this video. I don't know. You'll find it. It's Jesse Thomas.
I did enjoy your video, the non-FIFA one you posted, the economics class one.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I pissed myself when you first did that years ago.
Yeah, that was the bravest thing I've ever done, which is sad. I'm going to do an Eagles season review on the Jesse Thomas channel. I've just recorded it. So if you like the Eagles, go subscribe to that channel because I'm going to do Eagles content on there as well. But back to the trade period. Jenkins to be a Cat is likely to Tiger. I agree. And I was just saying how I think Geelong have done really well. I think they need to keep bringing in the talent. They've got some good youth already. But like we just said about some other clubs, there's an intergenerational gap there and they need to get kids quickly. And they're going to have 5
Swans and Saints in the trade room here.
Okay.
Zach Jones
confirmed. All right, let's see what we got on our phone. Our stream is just not our stream here, but the stream that we're watching trade period.
The deadline day thing.
Yeah. So Tom Cutler 24 to Essendon. That is a good pickup for the Dons, I think, as well.
Yeah, but solid depth.
Yeah. They're probably going to look at Bonar next year. I can't say that name without second guessing.
I remember when he was first got drafted, it was like a podcast we had. It was one of the ones Louis actually did. And he kept calling him Boner.
Yeah, he did. And Bonaire.
Yeah.
He called Bonaire or something like that. It was Bonar. Patton going for a future fourth. Your thoughts? Ask
Bargain.
Yeah, I
Patton they'll get him right.
Yeah.
And the thing is as well, compare it to the Tom Scale last year, Patton's healthy. He's been rehabbing all year. He's good to go.
Is he good though?
Apparently. He's a good player.
You reckon?
Yeah,
He's alright. He's alright. Could it be another victory? No, I don't think so. I'm just teasing. I think he'll be okay. I can't see him being really... I think Tom
There's
Boyd
a number
is
one
better.
key forward role there for him, I think.
Yeah, that's true. And Hawthorn, it is... No, from a Hawthorn perspective, it is very...
Hawthorn will turn him into a star.
And they've picked up Sam Frost as well, so they've got some bookends and they probably needed some consolidation. Roughhead's obviously gone now.
Yeah.
And Patton's
probably their number one key forward, unless you really rate like a Tim O'Brien as the number one key forward.
No, I'm sure the plan will be for Patton to be the big dog, Mitchell Lewis as well. Yeah, no, they're all going to play together. Zach Jones about to be a Saint. So has that actually happened yet?
Yeah, it's look, they're in the room as we speak, Swans and Saints. When I say these things, it's like I just look who's in the room. It's like, yeah.
So if there's a Swans bloke in this room with a St Kilda bloke at 6 minutes to go, does that mean nobody's doing the Tom Papley deal?
Yeah, look, I'm not optimistic with Papley unless you. Who we got hanging out here?
Is that Richmond?
A few people slipping in here. Richmond, is it?
And Akers is sad. Yeah, sad. Blake Akers would be sad to go to Fremantle. No, just kidding. I love Blake Akers. I think he's a good pickup.
I was reading, they sort of half told him that he'd probably have less opportunities now, but they've got Hill and Zach Jones. And they probably weren't 100% sure they'd extend him beyond 2020.
Well, come to the Eagles, mate. Weak dog.
Like he's going to get a game at the Eagles if he can't get one at the Saints.
Yeah.
Especially
I reckon
Kelly.
the Eagles would have turned Blake Akers into a good player, and I think he still can become.
I think he has that potential.
Yeah. Dan Butler to the Saints. Yeah, right. That's
exactly.
Yeah. Good call. Good pickup, Sean. Max King will be great. Yes. Who's going to be better out of Max and Ben? Because Max was the higher rated talent rather, by like 1 or 2 picks.
But Ben got the opportunity to shine more once Max got injured.
Ben's looking real good at the moment. Imagine Saints. With both of those boys in a couple of years, I'm assuming Ben's going to end up there. To be
thing is, Saints ended up taking that future first.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Even though Ben signed an extension, as everyone knows, contracts don't mean dick. Tom Papley, in theory, is supposed to be in Sydney till 2023, but I don't think he's going to be there that long.
No, but it might mean that. Sorry, I got distracted by some comments.
Ooh,
no, I don't think Max.
Adelaide are walking in. What are Adelaide cooking up here?
Ooh.
Adelaide and Geelong.
So the other thing to be aware of now is that you can trade picks all the way up to the draft day, basically.
Yeah.
There's going to be a little gap. So pick for pick deals will probably not be happening now. It's going to be players.
Yeah.
So who else do Adelaide have to trade?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Why Adelaide and Geelong?
Ben King is better than Max, Michael reckons. Said that before the draft. Yeah, fair enough. It's hard to say. It's so early, but I do get good vibes from Ben.
Yeah.
And I just haven't seen that much of Max, obviously, did his ACL. Dan Butler's been traded for pick 56. Thank you guys for the updates. It makes it easy just having it here. Will Essendon be happy if they can't make an agreement with Swans to trade Joe? 20-inch Grinch. I wonder why your name is 20-inch.
I don't think they'll complain. Realistically, all along they've said, we want to hold on to Joe. We want to have another year with him, get him to re-fall in love with football because he seems he wants to get out of the microscope that's Melbourne
but he's
get away from the game being so all-consuming in his life, I'm guessing.
Yeah, right. The thing is, though, he's a free agent, right? I think he will be a free agent, so that is a risk.
Yeah. But even if Essendon can still match. It's restricted.
True.
An absolute worst case scenario, they're still going to get a first rounder. So you've got to pay more than a first rounder to get that deal done.
Good point. Oh, Adelaide Jenkins.
Oh, yeah, Jane. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
5 to Eagles. Delisted free agent. Nathan Freeman is now a player manager. Is that right? Interesting.
Yeah, it looked like him lurking in the background.
Good pickup. Nathan Freeman's your age.
Yeah.
Or younger.
Nah, Freeman's my age.
Yeah, he is your age, yeah.
Yeah, he was in that draft with all Bont and Scharenberg and Aish.
Yeah, right.
those dudes.
Imagine being like 23, 24 and managing like Josh Jenkins, who's older than you.
And all the people I just named in that concept were the people that aren't even notables from that draft. The actual notables is like Josh Kelly and Patrick Cripps.
Yeah.
And Cam McCarthy, obviously. He was a
True.
dominant force of that draft.
Clearly.
Darty McCrafty.
So where are we at? 39 watching, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Can I just say while we have a minute, do you think it's bullshit that everyone gave Tim Kelly shit for requesting a trade home and choosing a club, and yet every other player has done that this offseason?
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous.
Fucking Brad Hill nominated St Kilda and nobody says dick.
Even my thing, like, I've got a bit of a conspiracy theory with the Brad Hill thing. Like, I feel like his reasons are less genuine than like Tim Kelly's come back home. Like,
100%.
From what I've seen of his missus, like, I don't like. There might be more to. I don't want to make her sound like a bitch or anything like that. Like, but she just seems like when it like. They like don't have kids or anything. She seems like the sort that's a Pilates instructor on the Instagram all the time. Seems like she wants to go back to Melbourne for the Instagram cloud or something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, like I said before, I'm speculating. She's probably a nice person, all that.
Well, yeah, on the surface, it just doesn't seem like they have a real good reason, whereas Tim Kelly did.
Like, even earlier, I was reading an article when Brad Hill first said he was introduced. Like, yeah, Mrs. gets homesick every now and again. She's not too fast. She's over there a lot anyway. Like, it didn't seem like as genuine a factor. I think pay rise is probably a factor, and
yeah. And he's got 2 years left on his deal as well.
Yeah.
Is there anything feeding through? Why would you leave to the last 2 minutes? Seriously, 40 seconds to go.
Have you seen me do assignments, mate?
Nope.
Exactly, Max. I'm getting them done last minute.
30 seconds left, and we're seeing handshakes. 25 seconds. Do they run out of time, or do they get Jenkins done?
I wonder if you get in the room before the clock goes.
No, I think it has to be signed and lodged. Is this North Melbourne and GWS? Did Port have a crack at Orazio today? No, I don't think they did, Caitlin. I think Orazio said he's staying a couple of days ago or yesterday or something.
Port Adelaide, I remember reading Port Adelaide were not happy about it because they felt like he was gearing up to come home. He just signed with a South Australian-based manager, and then he's backflipped. He seems like a real indecisive sort of dude.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely very close to considering it.
Yeah. Well, everyone in the internal footy community sort of thought he's going back to South Australia at some point. Wasn't that the concession?
Yeah. For sure.
Wonder what North Melbourne are cooking up here.
Tom Papley.
Is that Matthew Richardson looking over their shoulders? Looks a bit
it does. Yeah, it's not.
It's not.
It's
It looks
Littlefinger
like
from Game of Thrones.
No,
it's not. It's
the CIA agent from Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, there's Nathan Freeman. Was he CIA in Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah, he was that.
I knew he was the start. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy's like, I'm gonna throw you out of this plane.
Oh, Josh Jenkins did get done to the Cats.
Yeah.
Did Aish move? So we're still waiting for confirmation on Aish. We do have confirmation on Jenkins. I think we can assume though that Papley and Martin remain at their clubs.
And Carlton have bungled the trade period.
Yeah. Wow. So Gold Coast playing hardball for the first time I've ever seen.
I like it. They're starting to get a bit of an identity and culture up there, so it's good to see them sort of draw a line in the sand.
Since they flicked Scott Clayton to West Coast. No, just kidding. So
looks like Aishi's getting done. We've got a Freo person in the room.
All right, so they seem to be letting the trades go on even though the time has elapsed. It is 7:32 in Melbourne. Martin's going into the draft, yes, and Gold Coast have pick 1 in that pre-season draft. Wait, can he nominate for the National?
Not sure how that works. That's always one that's confused me. Could someone take him in the National before he gets? Because Matty De Boer was taken in the National after he was.
I think you can nominate for the National.
Oh,
that's a tricky one, hey.
If he's in the someone would take him in the National, I reckon. Considering Matt De Boer got the list and someone took him in the National draft.
Luke Ball also did the same thing. Collingwood took him in the National draft. Well, yeah, I wonder what the rules are because surely Gold Coast, if that was the case, Gold Coast would have, probably relented. Gold Coast are not going to use pick 1 or 2 on him.
Yeah,
in the
Rao
national
and
draft.
Anderson,
No
that's
way.
signed.
Even anything in the top 15, they wouldn't use their own 15 on Martin again.
Yeah, exactly.
12 games in 2 years for Danaher. Interesting. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And Sydney would have had to have got up 2 top 10 picks, probably.
They're interviewing Silvani here at the moment.
There you go.
Silvani just alluded to the national draft being a possibility there.
Yeah, so...
Pick 9, Jack Martin.
So what they can do... Not pick 9.
Imagine if they just took him with pick 9.
Yeah, but what they would probably do... Yeah, that would be... Gold Coast just get shafted. But what would probably happen is Carlton, because we can obviously live trade, can probably split picks and move to like pick 15 and take him and then use another pick in the 30s.
Yeah. Thing is, if Jack Martin was open for anyone to draft him in the national draft...
Which he has to be.
Do you think another club?
I just realised why Jack Martin might not go national. Because I'm pretty sure the difference is in national you have to accept the base contract, whereas pre-season draft you can nominate your own price. I think that's the difference. So Jack Martin's probably not going to accept $80,000, whatever the base contract is, when he can nominate his price of like $200.
Yeah, whereas a guy like De Boer was just grateful to be back on a list.
Yeah, exactly. But De Boer didn't really have the same prospects to go back.
Yeah.
Jenkins made to the Cats for that person asking, Shiny Hunter. Do you reckon Grundy will resign with Collingwood? I think so.
Yeah, I'd lean towards yes rather than no.
Yeah.
That's going to go down to the wire, but I'd lean towards yes.
Log Dog asked, do we think the Saints won the trade period? Look, I need to stop and reflect on that. Maybe we'll talk about it more in the podcast because they got a lot of players in. Did they get Zach Jones?
Yeah.
I'm getting so confused now. They did get Zach Jones.
Yeah, they got Jones done.
Remind me what that was for. So pick 32 and a future third. Yeah, so I think I saw that and forgot. Tina says, love the new look.
Thank you, Tina.
Tina's tuned into a few ones, so thank you, Tina. Thanks for tuning in. Caitlin reckons Tom Papley could have a crack at playing for the Victorian Bushrangers. Really?
Bit of a pay cut.
Well, he's got to leave Sydney first. Grundy to Gold Coast. Where's the Arnie board, says Tina. Oh, it's over there. It's still there. I've never bothered to move it out of the shot. They've memed my Arnie board. Look way better with the new haircut.
Thank you.
I like the beard. I like the beard.
I don't mind the longer beard, but honestly, with summer, I swim a lot. I wanted something low maintenance. But this, I can just wake up, looks good. With the longer hair, I actually had to make a concerted effort. And as most people saw on the podcast, I never did that and just wore a hat.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I like scruffiness. I wish I could pull it off, but I can't. But anyway, people are getting antsy about us. Change the topic. Axel says, thoughts on Akers to Freo. I did mention it before, but I think it's a really good pickup. Best 22 player under 25. But H didn't happen, right?
No, Freo and Collingwood snuck in the room in the last second.
Oh, okay.
We haven't had that confirmed yet, but I saw a Freo and Collingwood person in the room. So
it was definitely the case. Sorry, there was definitely the case that there were deals being signed after 7:30, 100%.
Yeah, look, there's that Freo guy in the purple shirt's just lurking there, and the Collingwood guy sitting at the desk.
Unless, whoops, oh my god, unless this footage isn't 100% live.
Yeah, well, the clock's expired on this footage because they had the deadline countdown in the corner.
So that's North. Is that Fremantle in the room as well in GWS?
Yeah. Well, the GWS North was the... Someone told us what that was.
It's getting so hard to keep track of all this.
Yeah.
I can't even keep track with this.
Collingwood are getting cap space this trade period.
Yeah, Collingwood didn't really get anyone in, I don't think. No, they didn't.
But cap space for Collingwood is probably a good get for them in this trade period, because then they're going to be paying Grundy $1 million to go. He's probably going to ask $1 million. Might not get it, but he's going to ask.
True.
Darcy Moore's going to ask. He hasn't extended yet, but he's another one that's going to be in that 700-y range at least.
I think they've already budgeted for Grundy. It's more the length of that contract that's interesting. Like Mike says, with Tim Kelly now, the Eagles are the best side fit to challenge the Tigers at the MCG. Yes, I do think so, to be honest. But it's hard to predict at the start of the year, because I would have said Richmond and West Coast were the best two teams probably going into 2019. And West Coast obviously didn't quite deliver on that promise. But as it stands, I think Richmond West Coast is a good grand final prediction this far out.
I hear a few people mentioning Tim Membry. That could have been the... Oh, wait, no. Where's my head? Yeah, I was way off on that. I thought it was that North Footy. I'm like, yeah, he had nothing to do with him. What am I thinking?
It's been a confusing last hour.
Absolutely. Okay. Especially after Leach Highway had the worst traffic I've ever seen in my life coming here. The worst I've seen it, honestly.
Yeah, so Collingwood did have a quiet off-season. There's Peter
Big
Bell.
Daddy Bell.
Thoughts on Peter Bell's performance?
Done good again.
Yeah.
But actually, that Langdon deal, I'd borderline on the Langdon deal, actually, now that I sort of look back on that. Like, I would have been happy if we just straight up went 22 for Langdon.
Yeah.
Rather than all this 22 future seconds.
Yeah. But so you got a second
4
round.
pick upgrade and a future second rounder, basically.
Yeah. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Because this 22 is still a second rounder.
Yeah. But that's probably going to be wasted on a Henry bid.
Wasted?
Well, not wasted, obviously, but...
Not used.
Yeah, it's going to be used for points, not to take anyone. So
Yeah,
it might as well have been 26.
That's true. So you guys only have 3 picks in the top 50 now. As in, like, your fourth pick's like past 50.
Something like that,
Yeah. Insane Bullets reckon Membry is the best player of all time. I agree to disagree. Yes, Axel, I do rate the Bulldogs bringing in Bruce and Keith. I've been a big advocate for their midfield.
Yeah.
This year really. So to consolidate the defence, I think the defence was the biggest. I think it really burned them that Roughhead left to Collingwood and became a really good player.
Yeah.
Keith is a solid acquisition. He's a good player, I think.
Absolutely.
Where does Martin go in the draft? So I'm thinking PSD, pick 1. For reasons I just said before, I think if he goes in the national draft, he has to accept a base contract of $80,000 or whatever it is. Just the base rookie contract.
He could immediately sign an extension and get a pay rise in theory, though.
Yeah, that is true.
If he had a pre-arrangement with a club that takes him or whatever going.
Yeah, but it's a 2-year contract, right? So can he... I guess they could just renegotiate it, right?
Yeah, sign it. That's what half these kids do. They do half a pre-season.
But whether you can extend it, but do you only get paid more in your 3rd and 4th years?
I don't know the full details.
I can't see why they can't just add on more money. So, yeah, that's a real iffy one. We'll have to wait and see on that. I don't know what the exact rules are.
Yeah.
Patrick Cripps has joined. Welcome, Patrick. Are you the real Patrick?
Imagine if it was. That'd be pretty full on. I'd like that.
Pretty hot. Gold Coast, it's just coming up on the screen, so it just reminded me. Gold Coast, I feel like, had a really good off-season as well for their standard. Now, pending the Jack Martin thing, because that could be a bit of a blight if they lose him for nothing, which is entirely possible.
Yeah, definitely a curveball.
But to get Greenwood in, Zach Smith, at least they're mature players to kind of help tie them over a little bit. And obviously, you're going to have the draft picks. They're going to need to establish a culture there. Imagine going to it. If you think about what it's like to get drafted Gold Coast, it'd be like being like hired for a new job and being like not that much younger than any of your bosses, and your bosses don't know much more than you do. That's what it must be like to play at the Gold Coast, who have no or a real lack of leaders.
I was actually even going to a club like Gold Coast because I was reading something interesting. I forget where I was reading this, but someone made a really good point. Even if clubs like Collingwood can't pay everyone, they still have advantages beyond football. They have the network, they know people in the business world. They can introduce their players to these people. It's networking as well. It's a big factor going to these bigger clubs compared to a place like Gold Coast is the ability to network. Even West Coast, all the connections a person would have in Perth playing for a club like West Coast.
True.
Even for a lesser extent. West Coast obviously much more connected media.
The West Australian is not biased, how dare you? It's not the real Patrick Cripps. No, that's all right. I figured that. Thank you for clarifying. Riley says, did Hawks do well for Frost and Patton? Yeah, we were saying before, I think they did because they basically spent nothing and they've got pick 11. So now the Phantom draft start. I got to say, live trading stuff makes it more annoying to do a Phantom draft because you so much
team needs. So,
plus you just could predict that a player goes at 8.
Did I hear future third? That could have been for Aish, possibly.
Aisha's gone.
Yeah, future third by the sounds, but I didn't hear the full.
That's exactly what we said, wasn't it? Future third. Yeah, so Aish done for a swap of picking the 40s for a pick in the 60s. And yeah, it's all right. So it's fairly solid business for Freeman. Yeah, benefiting from Collingwood's cap squeeze there.
And they're right in that age profile, him and Akers, but I feel is what Freo needs at the moment, especially with Langdon going out the door because he was right in that age bracket as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So a few of those guys that aren't like 18-year-olds still figuring out, guys who've had those using the system, got a bit of body of work, but still close to achieving their peak sort of thing.
Yeah. I think Fremantle will benefit from having this bind back next year. I've said this a lot. Carlton did not do well at all this trade period. You just
I've been roasting them a bit.
Yeah. I think to not land the targets they wanted, in particular Papley and Martin. Mind you, we'll wait and see on Martin.
I feel at the very least, once they should have realised sooner that Papley wasn't a for sure thing, so they should have made the move with 9 to get multiple picks to get the other deals done.
That's true.
That's what St Kilda did when they, for whatever the speculation was with the pick 6 and future first and whatever Freo was asking for. Once they had a few days to go, we'll do this deal, but once it didn't happen, they did what they had to do to secure the guys like Dougal, Howard Ryder, Zach Jones.
That's true.
That's what Carlton should have done in that situation as well, I feel.
I think Sydney did well to hold firm, not trading Papley, who signed a 5-year deal with them, to be honest.
Yeah.
I dislike it when players recruit trades.
It is a bit of a piss take if you've just signed an extension to 2023 and immediately ask out. I have not much sympathy for him, really, unless there is something dire with his family that people don't know, obviously. But,
so pretty much family reasons.
But even then, from what I remember, his family's rural Victoria, so it wouldn't be too much of a difference anyway.
Yeah, I dislike this lifestyle choice thing where players want an upgrade of their lifestyle, so they request a trade. I think it's lame. I know not everyone agrees with that, but I feel like I'm not the only one who thinks that our game is too skewed towards the players having power.
Definitely, I've always driven that wagon.
Do you think Ollie actually asked the Blues to snag in this trade period? That was the way it was reported.
It got shat on pretty quickly though by all parties involved.
As in dismissed?
Yeah.
Like they denied
his manager shat on it.
Oh, did they? Okay, yeah.
Port Adelaide shat on it.
We did have some fake news. Other fake news. The Brad Hill to Geelong thing was completely fake as well. Which is interesting. How do you think Danaher will be received next year by the fans and stuff? I don't know. I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine. They'd appreciate he's had a rough 3 years.
Yeah, I think the players will get around him, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really hard to say. It's hard to get a vibe on the real reason. Again, Danaher probably doesn't have a good reason to trade to Sydney. So I can understand as a fan, I'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah. Especially because you've had the past 2 years paying him when he hasn't been able to perform.
Yeah, that's very true. Paying him probably a fair amount of money to play 12 games in 2 years. Be like Nick Nat requesting a trade because he wants a lifestyle upgrade.
Yeah.
I think it's lame.
Yeah.
But yeah. So why did Carlton not get the Papley and Martin? I think it was like you sort of alluded to. They probably had all their eggs in the Papley basket. Had they known the Papley deal wasn't going to happen because Sydney didn't want to give them up, they probably would have split picks and maybe had a look at Jack Martin in a different sort of way. But yeah. Hawks to make the top 8 next year, I agree. To be honest, I agree with that.
It's always hard to bet against them. I wouldn't necessarily bet on them, but I can't bet against them. Every time I've bet against them, I almost. Yeah. Yeah.
You
almost got tattooed on my ass.
Yes, he's referring to the bet you made last year that Hawthorn wouldn't make the grand final, and if he'd lost, it would have been a tattoo on your ass of Brian Taylor and Cyril.
Bruce McAvaney.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Bruce is the one that has a man crush on Cyril.
Yeah. By the way, guys, I'm going to cheekily ask for you guys to thumbs up the video. That'd be great. True Geordie does it in his live streams, and I just thought I'd try it. So thank you. Thanks for tuning in, by the way. We've had consistently over 50 for a little while now.
Very nice.
Saints top 8. Thoughts? Nah.
Probably not, but they're a lot better shot than they were at the start of the trade period.
Yeah, we need to really look into their ins versus outs. So Brad Hill and Paddy Ryder. Paddy Ryder's an interesting one because you think they have a real need for him. I guess
can complement Marshall.
Yeah, I guess Marshall plays a bit forward, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So that is interesting.
And Ryder can play a bit of forward.
Yeah, Ryder is still a good player.
Yeah.
Even if he was inconsistent at Port.
Yeah. Yeah, Port. Yeah, I was even with the whole Port situation where the Port people are in raptures over this trade period. Like I was reading stuff throughout the years. Like they had Matthew Lobe in a career best year, and then they paid the house to get Patrick Ryder, sorry. And then that never really worked out. And then the following year they spent more money on Dixon when they could have. Yeah. There was a lot more to it than obviously that. But.
Well, they've got a couple second rounders now, don't they?
Something like that.
Do they have 12 and 18? No, they don't.
Port 12 and 18, yeah, they do.
They do have 12 and 18.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, that's what they got for Dougal paying 10.
Yeah, that's right. They downgraded 10 to 2. Okay, so they got 12 and 18, so they could.
That's why I don't think that deal was too bad for Port, really.
Yeah.
2 firsts for 1, and people valuing Dougal Howard at 18. So it's basically 2 picks down for Paddy Ryder.
Yeah.
If you consider 18 fair for Dougal, which I probably would.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It all comes down to whether, how they rate Howard. Because if he's contracted, they know. It's not like he requested a trade, they kind of forced him out. We can't cycle back to that. Yeah. Do you think Port will make the top 8? I'm going to say no, but I do think they could. I think they'll be around that mark.
They'll be in the thick of it. Same as this year, they'll be in the thick of it, and if they can get 1 or 2 results that go slightly differently, they can be there. If they have 1 or 2 results that go less than positively, they won't, sort of thing.
Well, if you compare it to other teams outside the 8, I think Hawthorn are better placed.
Better system.
Yeah. And they've got Tom Mitchell coming back.
Yeah. Titch,
yeah. Does Hill and Langdon departing the Dockers make the playing side go backwards? Who covers them for outside pace and carry? So Aish and Akers are both kind of outside. Yeah, you outside.
I feel like Akers can play a bit inside as well, but...
Yeah, he can. But, I mean, he
definitely downgrade.
He provides outside run. Yeah.
It's definitely a downgrade. I feel like...
Yeah.
I'm unfortunately not too optimistic about how we're going to go next year at this point.
Yeah.
I think we're sort of probably...
I don't think you'll get worse because I think you're bound for a better injury run. Yeah,
hopefully.
So I think not enough has been said, maybe over East, about how Fremantle's spine was decimated.
Yeah, destroyed.
Because in the first half of the year, they were pretty strong.
Yeah.
Not amazing, but some big wins. Collingwood away, GWS away.
We were right in the thick of the 8.
Yeah.
Until the spine crumbled.
Yeah, that's right. It just needs probably some more midfield quality.
Yeah.
I'd say, in the short term. You boys already covered the Dockers trades. Yeah, so
we've covered a few trades.
We're cycling back, trying to keep up with questions because people are joining and leaving and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Have you guys covered the Essendon trades? Well, I think we
what
might...
trades?
Yeah, so who did they get in? They got Phillips.
Yeah, Phillips, Cutler.
Phillips and Cutler. So some money ball picks there. Yeah. They didn't make a big other trade that I'm forgetting today.
Yeah, I don't think they did anything major. I can't recall.
Missed out on Ryder, which I don't think is a big deal.
Yeah.
But we are going to do a much more in-depth podcast tomorrow, wrapping this mess of a trade period as it always is.
We'll have notes in front of us live.
Yeah, we'll do a bit of research and stuff like that. But thank you all for tuning in to the first ever time we've done a trade period deadline day. It was fun. It was manic. It's hard to keep up with everything. But thank you for those who kept us up with a lot of the trade information. It made it simple.
Comments were helpful for sure.
Yeah. But do you think, one more question from Bailey, who's been here the whole stream. Do you think the Dogs will have a good 2020 season after these 2 trades? I think they were going to have a good 2020 season anyway. But I think these are astute pickups, and I think they will play finals again.
Yeah, it certainly will. I wouldn't say lock, but as close to a lock as you can say without actually...
Yeah, I rate them...
Me covering my ass, typically.
If I had to rate them in the rankings, I would say they're in the best 8 teams in the comp.
Yeah, on paper, certainly.
Yeah, that's right. One more before we go. I think, how do you guys feel about Eddie Betts going back to Carlton?
Nice story, not really significant in terms of...
Well, with Papley, with no Papley in now or Martin, suddenly he becomes a more important player than he did look
certainly,
2 days ago.
Yeah. Still don't know how much he has left necessarily.
I don't know. I think we're very quick as a community, and this happens in every sport, to write off players over 30.
Yeah.
I think someone like Eddie Betts can still offer something. Particularly off-field as a mentor, I believe he's a
that position would be, he's a really well-regarded guy around the league.
Yeah. Nate Dogg says Essendon top 4 if they can pull without major injuries. I don't know about that because, well, they're not that far off it, but they're a real Jekyll and Hyde side.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I've always said it, the holy trinity of inconsistency is Port Adelaide, Essendon and Fremantle.
Yeah. The Bulldogs were a little bit like that this year, but they really came home strong. I think they shook that leash a little bit.
Yeah. Those 3 clubs I mentioned have been doing that for 10, 15 years. Inconsistent.
Yeah, Port Adelaide. Been like that for a while.
And Freo, other than the golden patch we had, that 13 is 15 sort of.
Yeah. All right, guys. So thank you for tuning in. So what we're going to do is tomorrow, I want a real deep podcast tomorrow. Real good quality.
We'll do the homework.
Yeah. But we haven't really done too many potties over about 30-40 minutes. I reckon we'll push to an hour. Yeah. So I reckon we'll do a real good one tomorrow, guys, where we can answer some more questions.
Go watch our early trade ones. They go for like 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to do that again. That was just a bitch to edit. So bad.
Yeah, we all took turns on that one, I remember.
Yeah, and the video as well. Thanks, guys. So what we want from you guys is, we've got some Discord questions already, so if you haven't already joined the Discord, but if you want to put in some more questions for our podcast tomorrow where we can answer it sort of more measured and slowly, comment on this video, your question, and we'll answer it tomorrow in the podcast. Also, if you want to chuck a like on this video, that would be much appreciated. Help us get to 6K subs any way you can with a like would be awesome.
Thank you to go to 6K by the looks. We're on 5.91 apparently.
Yeah, something like that.
90 people by end of the trade period. You can do it.
By the end of the trade period?
Oh, sorry, by end of draft period, sorry. Draft period.
Yeah, it's a big ask.
You can do it.
Thank you for joining us, guys. And I just want to say thank you for the guys who moderated as well, like Sammy G and there's a few others as well. Sorry, I'm forgetting who else modded today. I'll go up, scrolling up, it doesn't help. But yeah, in particular, anyone who moderated today. So thank you so much. The podcast live, no, they're not, Bailey. There will be a video. We're going to record tomorrow, and it'll be up a couple of days after that. I've gotten pretty good at editing them pretty fast, but a couple of days, guys. Thanks, Log Dog, and thank you, Caitlin, as well for tuning in and up the pair. Absolutely. Cool, guys. All right, we'll call it quits, I reckon.
Catches.